I've asked you to meet me here before the hour agreed upon for our formal convention. It seemed to me wise for us three to consider our colleagues' proposals calmly and dispassionately, freed from the influence of his, how shall I put it, somewhat exuberant nature.
I agree. It is never easy to make reasoned judgments when the mind is prejudiced by fevered emotions.
Let us go over this proposed peace treaty then before Lord Christar comes. 1. People and goods may henceforth pass freely across all clan boundaries.
Oh, what's the man saying? Shall we open our borders to mass migration?
Wait, friend, let's hear him out. 2. Customs taxes shall no longer be levied for any purpose whatsoever.
This is wonderful indeed. The more revenues we sacrifice, no doubt the richer we'll become.
3. The buildup of armaments shall henceforth and forever be suspended.
Why, the man's thought of everything. Give up major sources of revenue. Give up our national security. Perhaps we could get our soldiers to support themselves by taking up knitting.
4. All military training shall be suspended.
Needed only that.
Only those forces shall continue to exist as may be necessary for purposes of maintaining law and order.
I suppose we could always muscle up our police forces.
5. There shall be a league of all clans, the decisions of which shall be binding on everyone.
Good Lord, he's asking us to forsake our national sovereignty.
6. This league of all clans shall be supported by a tax levied on every clan according to its own capacity to pay.
Enough, for God's sake, enough.
There's more.
No doubt. And having stripped us of other income, how does Christar expect us to pay this tax?
I have it. We'll go into the sign painting business. We can announce to people of other clans, come in. Shall we write that with 1 exclamation mark or 2, or with 3? Come right in. Take whatever you like. We'll even help you to carry it away. And here's a fundraising idea. We might charge them a small fee for helping them with the transportation.
I get the impression that neither of you like our brother Christar's proposals.
Like them? I love them. They bring me right back to my days of happy innocence in the nursery.
I've no desire to offend Lord Christar, but it does seem to me that thought might be given as to how this document might be modified. After all, it is only a first draft.
I'm pleased to hear the voice of moderation.
Oh, I would expect Lord Christar would like improvements. You, Kovar, are, after all, a far better writer than he.
The trick will be to protect our rights, but always in the name of peace and brotherhood.
I see, yes. Bow to principle while pleading practicality.
Exactly.
We must take pains to make our pragmatism seem principled. It won't do to alienate our subjects.
The name of the game, my friends, is and always has been power. And power where governments are concerned means power over the people. One of the best ways to achieve this power is to parade what one wants as representing the power of the masses. We can always, of course, bend them to our will by force. But the wisest course, it seems to me, is to present our case in such a way as to make them believe that the ideas are theirs. With enough propaganda, we can make those ideas theirs.
Will appeal to their self-interest.
We might also convince them of the dangers of excessive generosity.
Nor should that be so difficult. One can make black itself appear white. All you have to do is flash strong lights in their eyes.
I understand. Make sweeping promises.
Please excuse the intrusions, my lord, but where is Lord Christar? We thought to find him here.
We are waiting for him that our convention might begin.
In that case, may we await his coming?
Well, see, we have important things to discuss with him when he arrives. Was there something you wanted? I can assure you, we are competent to speak on his behalf.
It's about our daughter. She believes she's in love with a common soldier of Clan Azure. We wanted to urge our Lord Christar, in your presence, to write into the peace treaty provisions which will prevent our enemies from in any way presuming on the generosity of our united clans.
What luck is this? Two from his own close retinue. Rest assured, dear lady, that the great Lord Christar has no wish to penalize our victorious peoples. Just man that he is, it would never be his intention to make you suffer for the wrongs of others. Rest assured, your daughter shall only marry someone worthy of her.
Oh, thank you, my Lord Kovar. We couldn't believe this peace treaty would be a means of inflicting suffering on us and on our daughter if she could but realize it now.
Clan Azure stands already guilty of heinous crimes enough against you, against your family, your people, against all our peoples. The peace treaty will be a just document. There can be no justice without punishment.
Your words are an enormous relief, my lord. How indeed can we build securely for the future if we destroy our foundations in the past?
The old ways deserve our reverence.
We're so glad. We'll go now, armed with your authority, to forestall what would have been an appalling tragedy.
If you so desire, we might have the young man flung into prison.
Oh, your generosity is so deeply moving.
Am I late? You all look as though the meeting had begun.
No, we only arrived moments ago. We've just been chatting idly here, awaiting your arrival.
Let's be seated then.
Lord Christar, we can't begin to find the words to praise the treaty you have written. Truly it is inspired.
I'm so glad you think so. The important thing is not who wrote it, but the countless thousands who will benefit from its adoption.
Indeed, yes. And as you say, it's not important who wrote it. I mean, after all, good generals aren't expected to be experts with the pen. The important thing is that this peace treaty be worded properly.
I'd like to hear the changes you suggest.
Nothing major. I'm afraid, however, that with laudable soldierly bluntness, you managed to trample on a few toes.
Please, dear friend, if you can help our cause by rephrasing my words in the generous spirit, which is our true intention, I shall be grateful to you.
Just so. You see, to demand of anyone's deeds to which he is not mentally or emotionally prepared is to impose hardship on him. We must take our people's feelings into account.
This, I believe, I have sought to do.
One moment, please. Of what benefit is it to comfort the body when the mind which rules the body is distressed? A healthy mind is of vital importance to the health of the entire body. It is even true to say that the brain is more important than all the other organs of the body. The head is placed over the body to rule it, and by ruling, to keep it well. Same is also true, self-evidently so, of the body politic. The treaty you have written has been addressed to the body, but not to the head.
But surely, in this case, the head recognizes that what I've written is for the good of the whole body.
Such, I know, is your bluff soldierly intention. We honor it. We applaud it. But have you considered how we, on whom a whimsical destiny has imposed the distasteful duty of ruling our people, how we, I say, can implement your ideas?
Of course I've considered it. After all, I'm a clan ruler myself.
But have you considered our feelings? You see, you've had all the glory of winning this war. But what of us who stayed behind and who must somehow avoid looking inglorious in the aftermath of this war? You have your victory to hold up to your people while they suffer the privations of this costly struggle. We other rulers face only its ruinous aftermath. I refer to what unthinking people, throwing their cares for the future to the winds, hail today as the peace.
What are you saying?
I'm saying we three are saying that someone must pay for this devastation. By my reckoning, Clan Azure, the entire cause, let me remind you of our tragic suffering, finds itself in defeat, even more devastated than are we. Too many of their young men were killed, especially in the final battle. They committed themselves throughout this war to a massive gamble that they would win, following which they planned to bleed us white. Now that they've lost, they have even fewer resources than we to rebuild their shattered country. Now then, as I read your plan, it will become accepted as necessary to use our resources to rebuild Clan Azure. You were suggesting that we bleed ourselves white, in fact, for their benefit, just as they had planned to do to us. You want to revive and implement their own dastardly program.
But can't you see that if all the clans are strong, we'll all benefit?
My friend, my brother, don't be too hasty. All I'm saying is that let us not depart from the time-honored dictates of justice. Let Clan Azure pay, I say, as in any civilized nation, men are called upon to discharge their debts.
Very well. I accept your point that they must bear their debt honorably and responsibly.
Indeed, we want to do so. In every way, Clan Azure hopes to stand shoulder to shoulder with the other 4 clans, responsible not only to our own people, but to all the inhabitants of Crystal Isle.
Admirable. Admirable. And just how do you propose to go about assuming this responsibility?
Gradually, my lord, as we grow stronger, we mean to help you rebuild your towns as we rebuild our own. We mean to, in honorable recognition of our debt to you, the burden of helping your economies out of any profits we earn.
Gradually, you say.
Naturally, my lord. We cannot pay out of funds that do not as yet exist.
Voluntarily, you say. What is offered voluntarily, however, can just as voluntarily be retracted. Even this word gradually that you propose cannot but arouse the suspicion of any thoughtful person. Just how gradually do you mean? Shall our children's children's children see the beginnings, perhaps, of the vaunted repayment of your debt?
My lord, without trust, there cannot be even the glimmerings of hope for lasting peace.
Wisely spoken. In your discernment, I see clearly how we won the war. Indeed, there must be trust.
Then shall we not trust?
Trust is possible only when people are proven trustworthy. Anything less than that is naivete. And naivete ends in the destruction of all trust. Plainly speaking, we can't afford to wait. Our countries lie in ruins. It is now that we must rebuild them, not uncounted generations into the future. If Clan Azure is to help us in this undertaking, they must help us now.
We want to, my lord. But how do you suggest we do so?
Suggest? I'm not suggesting anything. You'll pay because we will take from you what we want. If you can't pay us in goods or money, you'll pay us with your people. They will come and work for us, serve us in our homes, without pay, but in back-breaking labor.
But that's slavery.
Call it what you like. Words can be made to serve an infinity of different ends.
This isn't repayment you're asking, it's punishment. Wait a few years only, and by the treaty I propose, you'll derive vastly greater benefits than you could possibly squeeze out now from a land that remains devastated.
Referring once more to this peace treaty, you so quaintly called it, the feelings of your brother rulers are hurt also by others of your stipulations. You've asked us to sacrifice important revenues and customs duties. Apart from that income, do you seriously intend to ask our artisans to welcome the threat of cheap foreign goods flooding their marketplaces? Clan Azure's goods, since its country will be impoverished, will be especially cheap. Is it fair to reward them for the sufferings they have caused by giving them such an advantage?
According to your plan, people should be free to cross our boundaries at will. Can't you see that poverty will thus end up chasing wealth and forever depleting it? the people of Clan Azure especially will pour into our countries, stealing jobs from those to whom they belong by right. Indeed, slavery is the best solution to the dangers of cheap labor. With slaves to serve us, our own citizens would be free to pursue their lives with the dignity they've so long merited.
Are you so blind that even tomorrow is only a mist before your eyes? What would the fruit be from such damaged seeds? It would be bitterness, hatred, vengeance, and eventually, inevitably, war.
You've written that there should be no further buildup of armaments and no military training. How do you expect us to protect ourselves against Clan Azure's reprisals?
And how do you expect to distribute the spoils equally amongst all our clans?
You've written that there should be a league of all clans. This I judge to be an excellent idea. It will help us to keep an eye on one another. Clan Azure, of course, must be excluded from representation. And the tax? Why place this burden on our own innocent populace? Why, obviously it is Clan Azure that must pay the tax. Thus, they will be included in your noble concept of clan unity.
My brother, please don't feel that we've rejected your peace treaty. Oh, true. We've altered it a little bit here and there. But don't you see, in essence, it remains unchanged. From the start, our commitment has been to the principles that you so beautifully outlined for us yesterday. We agree with you in principle. We still agree. Yes. It is a principle of ethics that the many should never be made to suffer for the few. From this self-evident truth, it follows logically that the few may have sometimes to suffer for the many. What if one clan out of 5 be penalized? The peace, the harmony, and brotherhood of which you spoke of so eloquently yesterday will be all the greater for these few changes we've made in the rough draft you wrote for us. Changes on which I must add, we insist. Oh, the wealth of a people depends upon the prosperity of its rulers, I might add. And in reminding you of this fact, I know that you too will be reassured that the changes we have made will make all of us rich, including you. Your plan? My dear fellow, how could you be so blind? But have impoverished us all. As the rulers are, so shall the people be. Our clans would have all grown poor, according to the terms of your treaty, while Clan Azure flourished, to wage war on us once again. Next time, perhaps, defeating us utterly. With the alterations we've introduced, our people too will grow rich someday.
Let us leave. There is nothing for us here but further humiliation.
Leave? You leave, my brother, if you so wish. But don't speak of leaving with these, our enemies. Their freedom is now forfeit. Guard! I station them nearby just for this purpose. Take these criminals away, place them in chains. So shall we ever treat the enemies of civilization and of all human decency.
I go to my own country.
Well done, my friend. Let us hope only that we have not opened wide the windows of our homes to a hurricane.
Oh, Baltan. Baltan. I asked you to join me here because I knew you'd have no trouble finding this place. I also asked you here because I wanted to speak with you in privacy, where no other ears could hear.
I'm glad I found you. Baltan told me you'd be here, but I didn't realize he'd be here too. I wanted to speak with you in strictest privacy, where no other ears could hear.
I've come because Baltan asked to see me here. Mary, I had no idea you'd be around too. There's something, Mary, I'd like to speak with you about. in privacy where no other ears.
I asked you to meet me at this hour, Robin, because Ponder had invited me, so I thought to meet him a bit later. Actually, something rather special I wanted to discuss with you. I intended, that is, I hoped to speak with you in strictest privacy, where no other ears.
Well, it looks like this group is all ears. Shall we all leave?
My good friends, I never meant to exclude you from my confidences. It's only that I didn't want to share them with strangers.
I too am happy to share with all of you what I came to say.
Well, I suppose those are my feelings too. But I can't help recalling, Balton, how you mocked me the other day. And you too, Robin. Still, it now appears that Robin needs my help. Balton needs Robin's help. Ponder, I suppose, needs Balton's help. And I just now need Ponder's. So it looks as though, as usual, we're all in this together, protected, as it were, by some great natural law by which each species depends for its survival on some other. Leave out any one of us, and the chain is broken. We'd sink like a boat without a bottom.
Well, one of our missions seems clear enough. Mary, how can you imagine we were mocking you? Would anyone even think of making jokes at a funeral?
Oh, enough! Enough! For the only funeral here will be yours. As for my love for Crystal, far from indicating the death of the Mary you've known, it is only through her that I feel I have at last found life.
Yes, I believe we all surmised that Crystal entered the story somewhere. But where exactly?
She's needed for the anticlimax.
Ah, be careful, or I'll withdraw from our interdependency. And then where will you all be?
No, it's true that I need your help, Mary. You're a friend of Crystal's. I'm sure you see her as an angel. Can you perhaps persuade her to be a guardian angel to two people in distress? The four of us know of Starline's difficulty. Since going with him that day, we become his friend. Oriel's parents, as you heard the other day, opposed their marriage. As a member of her clan, I offered to help her if I could. She may decide to run away from home. If she does, would it be possible for Crystal to give her sanctuary?
Ha! You don't realize what you're asking. I, a friend of Crystal's? Well, I'd like to think I am, but it isn't as though she and I are on speaking terms. That's what I've come here for. Ponder. You know Crystal. Would you write a short letter for me to her father?
Sardok, if you think anything can win his sympathies, it's clear you don't know him at all.
But he must love his daughter. And the truth is, she favors me. She managed even to smuggle a message to me through Fidela, her governess. But she wrote in it that her father is as approachable on the subject of our friendship as a lion is on the subject of sharing its dinner. Can't you persuade him, Ponder, out of his love for Crystal, and out of your love for me, to accept me in his home?
Sardok's problem is not that he lacks love, it's the direction taken by that love. A river cannot flow in two directions at once. The ocean, towards which the mighty flow of Sardok's affection is directed, is himself. To persuade him to agree to anything, we must cater to his self-love.
I might offer myself as a young man eager to study his philosophy of life.
Difficult. His entire philosophy might be summed up neatly in a single phrase. Where other thinkers have developed with infinite subtlety the ancient teaching, know thyself, Sardok's musings on life would yield little further development. They are stark, indeed blatant. Love thyself.
Then could I present myself as one so impressed with his life story that my one ambition in life is to write his biography?
You might, had he lived anything resembling a life. Unfortunately, the sum of all Sardok's ever said and done might be condensed into a single word. No.
But he must have some desire, some ambition.
He does, it's to seem important. The way he fawns on Lord Kovar and manages to let even perfect strangers know of his relationship by marriage to our ruler would be embarrassing were it not such a perfect piece of poetic justice. For Kovar casts suspicion on the very claim of mankind to be the noblest of earth's creatures.
Then, why don't we write him that by befriending me, a representative of Clan Ruby, and a friend of our commander-in-chief, Lord Kristar, that he will find himself at the forefront of the new developments spelled out in the peace treaty. His alliance with me should cause Lord Kovar to look upon him as a man to be respected, as one who is in tune with the spirit of the hour.
That's an idea. Let me write Sardok a short letter introducing you and hinting at the advantages to him of associating with you at this point in time. The rest will be up to you.
I brought a sheet of paper with me, and a pen. Clan Amethyst imagines that the citizens of other clans have no philosophy. What sort of philosophy is it that makes a man so dour? I tell you, there's more philosophy in a happy laugh than in all the gloomy sermons in the world.
And there's more of it in a graceful dance than in all the broad gestures of philosophers, as they affirm the spirit of man, but deny his body.
There's more philosophy in a soaring melody too, I tell you, than in all the dry speeches that get coughed out in a dreary monotone as the speakers trudge forward and senile soft congratulation toward their empty proofs. Oh philosophy, I'll sing your syllogisms up and away with a lilting.
Well, Mary, I've done my best. I do hope this letter serves.
I'm deeply grateful to you, Ponder. May you be rewarded with joy in your philosophy.
Before you tell me what you wanted of me, Ponder, may I unburden my heart before it bursts? No, it's not that I'm in love, though it's nothing like being in love. That is to say, I'm in great pain. Robin, I need you to testify on my behalf. Certain soldiers, I blush to say it, but members of my own clan, riffraff regrettably, despicable dregs of society from whom every vestige of decency...
If you consent to sing it, we might turn this into an aria. Oh, when riffraff decline to despicable dregs...
Forgive me, I sometimes get carried away. But certain soldiers have been saying they didn't see me fighting with them during the battle. Please, Robin, won't you tell them what you told me? You saw me crouching on that rock.
I can state boldly to anyone who doubts you that I did see you lying there.
Well, anyway, you saw me. These creatures lower than the dumb beasts are perjuring their very souls by claiming they didn't see me at all. But you know, I was only waiting for the tides of battle to return my way. I was holding myself in readiness, and I'm sure you sensed me gloating at the surprise I was going to spring on the enemy.
I shall say, dear God, help me not to perjure my soul, that I saw you waiting there, oh, well, resting perhaps, but only to plunge more terribly into action with blood-curdling yells of horrible vengeance. Will that do?
Oh, thank you, dear friend.
I can say that what I heard from you were not snores as I first imagined, but snarls of most hideous rage.
Oh, now you go too far. I did fight Robin. You must have seen me at different points of the struggle.
Well, now that you drive me to it, I confess, I did see you fighting. Sincerely, old friend, I'll answer your enemies on your behalf. I know you for a brave warrior.
Thank you, good friend.
I'll go further. I suspect these men oppose you because they fear the changes coming with the peace treaty. They know you champion it. Small-minded, selfish people can't help fearing anything that threatens their small-mindedness by expanding their sympathies.
Vain braggarts.
Be careful. From the things we criticize in others, we reveal what we are ourselves.
No.
But Balton, I wanted to speak with you. May I do so now?
Speak on, good friend. People like coming to me for counseling. That's because I never criticize, but accept them magnanimously as they are.
It's because we're friends that I wanted to speak with you. Do you know Gazella? She's a member of your clan.
As it happens, I do know her slightly. Oh, but don't tell me. No, Ponder, not you too!
Never mind the buffoonery. Friend, I don't know what it is I feel for her. I only know that seeing her the other day for the first time, I felt inspired as I've never been inspired before.
She has that effect on people. They say it's because her spirit soars, and that it does so because there isn't anything on this earth that binds her, as most of us are bound.
That is what I'd hoped to hear. Having had only glimpses of her, I intuited as much. Now I ask myself, would it be possible for my spirit and hers to soar high together? Balton, can you arrange an introduction?
There's no need for one. Gazella is as free and open as a flower to heaven. I'll tell you what you might do. She goes whenever possible to pray at Crystal Glen, and if you should happen to be there when Gazella arrives, I'm sure she'll be glad to speak with you.
I'll go there tomorrow.
What's this?
Mary, what is this? What happened?
My God, I barely escaped with my life. Ponder, we were wrong. The peace treaty wasn't at all the right issue to present to Sarda.
Why not? What went wrong?
My friends, I have terrible news. The convention this morning was a disaster.
No.
The rulers vetoed the peace treaty on every point. Lord Antar and Lady Angela were led away in chains to prison. Lord Kristar has returned dejected to his own land. I heard all this from Fidela before Sardak appeared. When he came on the scene, having read your letter, it was bedlam. Sardak denounced the peace treaty, denounced me for coming, denounced you for writing such a letter, warned me never to come there again, and then final insult, can you believe it? He set the dogs on me!
He used my very letter and his reaction to it to better his position with Lord Kovar.
But what can we do? This tragedy isn't only mine, it affects all clans.
Sardak's treatment of you cries for vengeance.
The rejection of the peace treaty cries for vigorous action on the part of all the clans.
Those low rascals who slandered me must not be allowed to gloat. They'll side with the lords against me, against anyone who longs for peace.
Let us go and sound out our own people. We must leave no time for any weeds to grow.
First, let's go to Crystal Glen and there seek the counsel of the wise hermit.
A sound idea. Let's be off at once.
I begin to think that any tree growing within these ruins must bear but bitter fruit. Yes, let us leave at once.
It seems we are destined to continue meeting here in Crystal Glen. Oh, that this occasion were auspicious. The last time, my meditations aided by the clarity with which this holy place is blessed, furthered by the hermit's prayers, and uplifted, I sincerely believe, by the inspiration of your dance, yielded me a plan whereby a lasting peace would be assured, not for now only, but for centuries to come. How could so noble a plan have failed so ignobly?
Are you saying, my lord, that your proposal for a peace treaty has been rejected?
Rejected is too mild a word. Jeered at, mocked, ridiculed. Its author treated like a toddling child. No problem so long as he played the unsophisticated games of war, but a threat to civilization itself if he dare to speak on those occasions when grown men practice the subtle arts of government. The treaty I submitted has been shredded, its remnants flung disdainfully to the winds.
How is it possible? Are all our inspirations then but empty smiles born of wishful dreaming? Can words that ring to the heavens in bell-like tones of truth be nothing but glass tinkling, the foolish prattles of children excited by a game?
Did I hear rightly as I was coming here? Have your plans for a peace treaty been thwarted by your fellow rulers?
Thwarted, good hermit, and much more. Discredited, discarded, their very virtues turned against them as though these constituted their outstanding flaws.
I am not surprised. Meritorious changes seldom owe their adoption to those granite public figures whose office and authority derive from fixed traditions. Improvements come when there's nothing left to protect save one's own integrity.
And when such persons are discredited or thrown into prison, what then?
Truth, my lord, is an exacting master. It tests men in the fire, either to temper thereby or else to destroy the steely sharpness of their resolution. Know this, however, for a certainty. Truth alone is. All else is mere froth. Sooner or later, depending on men's constancy, the truth must emerge victorious. For though mountains fall and continents disintegrating plunge into the greedy oceans, truth is eternal. It can never die.
Show me its victories. Are they hiding smugly somewhere among the stars? Here on solid earth, how often sacrifice, far from being rewarded, is whipped and driven, forced to concede still further sacrifices. I'm a bluff soldier, Father. I demand some visible proof that high ideals are sometimes honored by a universal law and not forever tripped up and made a laughingstock.
My son, was not your victory in this war, against odds that at the time seemed overwhelming, was not that victory proof sufficient that where the will is committed firmly to the cause of truth, it must be victorious at last? All depended on the firmness of your commitment.
Then where have I gone wrong?
You have not gone wrong, my son, not yet. You are merely going wrong. Your will is faltering.
But my plans have been cast onto a funeral pyre. They are now but ashes. The most now that can be done with them is to enshrine them in an urn and pray for their departed spirit.
Is any man a god that you must bow to him and accept his decrees as commandments carved in stone? You've been thwarted, Lord Christar. You've not been overthrown.
I think I understand you, Holy Father. forgive my presumption, but is not our present disappointment but a sign that we must make our ideals more practical?
I thought my plans were practical.
Practical in their conception, yes, but not in their implementation. You as a general must know this truth as well as anyone. You are suffering now, but pain normally is the result of wishing that things were other than they are. To cherish high ideals is the first step to high attainments. As important is the second step, to work with things not as you think they ought to be, but as they are. As long as you live, never say that you've been defeated. Even in death, if you cling to truth, then truth and your own soul as well must be victorious at last.
You give me hope, Father. What I must do is make my concepts live, not on paper, but in the marketplace. I must win the consent not of people's thoughts merely, but of their hearts, their consciousness, their entire being. We must inspire them to embrace these truths by first living them ourselves. Only then may we expect the clans to abide by written treaties.
We must make our vision more practical. Holy Father, yesterday I contrasted human love to the aspirations of the soul. It seems to me now that what men need are examples of earthly love that is rooted not downward in desire, but upward in devotion to high ideals.
Go where your soul feels called, my child. Only when we act in keeping with the highest that is in us can our actions be allied to truth.
I was afraid my parents might be following me, but I eluded them. Oh, Starlight, what an evil fate, twisting like a tornado, has bent down and swept us up from our dreams. My Lord Christar, what can have happened? My Starlon is a fugitive, and he knows it not. If in all innocence he finds himself seized by the enemy, yes, the enemy. For whosoever obstructs true justice shall be my enemy from this day forth, whatever the color of his clothes. But if in all innocence he is captured, then I swear it by all that I hold holy, I will fight for his release, though it be against my own flesh and blood. Starlight, my beloved, we've been betrayed. Together let us flee to the mountains. There we'll live on roots and berries, dearest. Though we dress in rags, I swear I will never leave you.
What's this you're saying?
The peace treaty has been vetoed. Clan Azure is declared culpable. My mother told me gloatingly this afternoon that you, Starla, may be sent to prison. Together, let us flee. Of what use in any case a world where justice is held ransom by blatant selfishness and greed? Can virtue thrive where justice is despised? Can justice flourish where virtue is forgotten? Let us forsake these clans, as sane people would turn their backs on a mad mob.
The thought of escape is tempting. Yet when I think of the suffering with which my clan must now be faced, I am torn in two. Love on the one side, honor on the other. Could we preserve our love, my sweetest, when paying for it with our honor? Oh, that so great an opportunity be sacrificed to vengefulness and greed. Cannot people see that all the clans depend on one another? What is song if it lack poetry? And what is poetry if it lack a melodic sense?
There's our solution. There's how we'll win the people to our cause. The 5 clans belong together, like the 5 fingers of one hand, of which any finger by itself would be incomplete.
What would dance be without music? Dance needs also the help of poetry and song for clarity. And were it not for graceful bodily rhythms, would it not be difficult to bring rhythm into poetry and music? Their beat would lack grounding.
And what would these 3, dance, poetry, and music, be without philosophy? People who leap and fling themselves about without reason are judged themselves bereft of reason. Music that shreds the silken veil of peace, or that heaps faggots on the fires of pain, or that heaves, shudders, moans, and shouts, all these without a purpose, is no more music than frogs are nightingales. Poetry that says nothing is like wind whistling through the cracks in a rough cabin. No work that has not its roots in truth can long endure the hurricanes of change.
The arts, too, are essential to philosophy. lest truths be placed on view like corpses in a mortuary, having shape and size but lacking life.
Without joy, finally, yes, and merriment. What meaning could we ascribe to life that had more vital purpose than a bandage on a wound? Yet joy also should have a dancer's grace, aspiration like a soaring melody, the healing power of poetry well conceived. Joy without a sense of higher purpose is like drunken jollity, muddled and confused. Its laughter like the barking of hyenas that rejoice most there where they smell death.
As the flowers need bees to propagate their seed, and as the floral sweetness supplies bees with their nourishment, so does every clan depend on every other. By this truth shall we convince the lords that the peace treaty is a necessity.
Why so, my lord? The other lords are not concerned with truth. It is not them we must convince. Yet, from this war, like green shoots rising from a forest floor of ashes, a great good may come. The clans, when allied together, became friends. Now they understand that the clothes we wear, the talents we've developed, do not alter the fact that we are human beings first, members of one human family. Formerly, men lived in the thought that governments decided everything. They were ruled, and even if they grumbled, they obeyed or had compliance forced upon them. Power came with possession. From now on, power will come with knowledge. Possession is passive, cannot long resist the onslaught of fresh information. That is why power has ever sought to subjugate, not only by force of arms, but above all by imposing ignorance on the common man. That day has ended now. The lords may burn the peace treaty, yet the very incense rising from its flames will waft to distant corners of Crystal Isle, inspiring men everywhere to affirm the peace their hearts crave.
It's what I first told the lords. We must address the issue first in principle. Peace is a state of mind. It cannot be produced merely by the written law. From the love for peace alone can follow that stability which laws for centuries have proclaimed, yet remain forever impotent to enforce.
That is what I must do. Like an eagle, soar and swoop. I'll live in the mountains, as you urged, yet descend at night to gather up those who scorn to live in slavery. United then, we'll inspire those whom bonds in the city keep from joining us, to seek their strength within themselves.
I'll go with you. Being free, it will be easy for me to move about and travel to other clans, stiffen the will of men everywhere to live by these lofty truths, as well as to protect themselves from tyranny. Just as during an epidemic, we isolate ourselves from noxious germs.
We'll preach love, not hatred. For fear is the rank infection by the spread of which ruthless tyrants have for centuries imposed their might.
We'll marshal a new army, one carrying not weapons, but a new belief. From this day forth, I will use my skills not to defeat, but to unite men's hearts. My friends, you've come here in time to join us in a revolutionary undertaking. Go to your clans, each of you. Seek out whoever hopes to see clouds of a new dawn blush hopefully in the skies above Crystal Isle. Gather those people quietly until, as our strength increases, we adjudge the time ripe to declare boldly our united faith.
Gladly will go, my lord. With this end in mind, it was that we came here now. We go away relieved, determined, and full of renewed hope.
In 20 years, I have not been anxious as I find myself today. So much depends on the outcome of these critical events.
Success! Reverend Father, a glorious success!
What news? What happened, daughter?
It was warfare, as you know, and not a war. For the struggle was waged not with weapons, but with our heart's love for peace, and with the strong determination that force no longer commanded our respect. When cudgeled by our ruler's soldiers, we responded not with fear, but gazed calmly into their eyes and willed them to understand the error of brutality. One by one, and soon by scores, they joined our ranks, till those remaining fled away in fear. lest we in our swelling ranks destroy them with a fury equal to that with which they had tried to destroy us. It's a victory of consciousness over brutish force.
And thus is proved the power of focused thought over heavy but insensate matter.
Good Father, what a victory.
The best war of all. We stretched our hands, and our enemies ended up not dead, but smiling at us. Stretch, smile. Stretch, smile.
The smiles were on every face, however. For some, it was gloom, gloom, gloom.
We seized Kovar, Loftar, and Voltar, the authors of this tyranny, and then, lest ever again on Crystal Isle they sow seeds of discord, suspicion, avarice, and hate, we stripped them of their power to influence weak minds, susceptible to the whisperings of fear.
In short, Father, we shoved them off in a boat without oars, into ocean currents strong enough to carry them to a great distance. We gave them enough food to survive. In another week or two, they'll beach on some far-off shore.
There to live among men as strangers.
Even as they would have had us be, strangers to one another.
Oh, Starlon, now we can be married. Mary, can you believe I'm here?
However did you manage it? How did you get away?
The new consciousness has swept across the land. It has cleansed even homes like ours. My father is a broken man, though I must say he deserves it. He was too brittle to bend with the times.
Crystal, you should respect your father. Oh, the poor dear, he's merely being firm in his loyalty to Lord Kovar. Loyalty's an inspiring trait.
He's loyal, all right, to himself, if that's inspiring. Oh well, maybe he'll consider watering his roots from now on with a little sympathy. Broken reed he might be, but there's still life at the base to grow tall again.
Fidela, we have a plan. May we discuss it with you? It may even help Sardok, or at least teach him a lesson he badly needs.
Reverend Father, I see you've heard the news.
I've heard we've all been rejoicing over it.
I accept these changes as good, or most of them. But what I fear now is the spread of popularity as the criterion of excellence. An aristocracy committed to high ideals, trained to uphold an ancient tradition, in itself the very definition of nobility, is better suited to uphold before the world those lofty principles towards which all humanity should aspire.
Do you not see high principles at work in the recent changes that have taken place?
I confess I do, though I dread the future.
When popular opinion stirs the pond, what rises to the surface is not perfume, but the fetid stench of error.
If we can teach people that truth is not up for election as if to a town office, but that it simply is and must be recognized, lest it become our silent judge, then perhaps they'll be more swayed by the simple, honest need to understand.
Good friends, you speak of principles. Is not compassion such? Yet, when hereditary right is claimed to dictate merit and demerit to other men, compassion is often lost. Aristocrats, to maintain their proclaimed superiority, distance themselves in sympathy from others, as they do in dress and mannerisms.
You are right, my lord. I see that we must be compassionate to all, and accept all as having a right even as we do to nature's bounties. Each has a claim to the respect of all. In this I now see I've been narrow.
Oh, then will you accept Starlon here, to whom I have given my heart, as the only husband I can ever have?
It's hard. Yet I see I must accept this novel spirit of democracy. Oh, if only his breeding weren't so. How are his table manners? Does he inhale his soup?
Mother, there lies revealed your vaunted aristocracy. Aristocrats boast nobility of character, exalted understanding, yet when the tests are in, the high marks all go for trivia like table manners. Starlon is as noble in every test of character, goodness, and sincerity as any man on Crystal Isle. Frankly, I've never noticed how he drinks his soup. The important thing, I imagine, is that it reaches stomach. By looking at him, one can tell it goes everywhere it's supposed to go.
I've seen Lord Antar and his wife approaching us. They've been summoned here with the good news that their imprisonment, disgraceful from the start, is forever ended.
Lord Christar, friends, peace and freedom are assured at last. We are pleased to be released after renewed suffering from prison. Our gratitude, however, is far greater for the fact that love can prevail at last, and that all the clans can now live in amity.
Welcome, good friends. Soon, I believe, to become my very dear friends. The injustices you've endured make your presence with us here all the sweeter. We were proud to hear, too, how the members of your clan advanced our common cause, never with anger, but with dignity, forgiveness, and integrity.
We heard, even in the cold solitude of our prison cell, how one man, whom all were careful never to give a name, guided Clan Azure from his mountain post through the part it played. The credit goes as much to him as to all the rest.
Surely I know that voice, but it can't be. I know they're both dead. Father, mother,
son?
How is this possible? They told me you'd been slain by Stolar.
Oh, my son, seeing you makes my joy complete. No, Stolar never dared to kill us, though he would have liked to.
He put the news out that we were dead, but that was merely a confusion of tenses. He projected into the past a fulfillment he still cherished for the future.
The word he put out was not that you'd been killed, but that death had come to you through some unexpected illness. Nobody believed him, for his lies were the only point on which he ever showed consistency.
But did you not hear of our release after the war?
I never could return home. And too soon after the fighting had ended, I was forced to flee and to live in secrecy in the mountains.
Then, is it you who our Clan Azure are so justly proud?
I don't know how proud they are or how justly, but it is true I played some little part in our eventual success and liberation.
It was Starlon, my lord. Without his courage, Clan Azure might have had its freedom still, but passively, at the hands of others, and not won bravely in its own right. Starlon it was who sent shafts of hope into the heart of a defeated people and steeled them to become brave again.
Who might this young lady be who speaks thus on your behalf, my son?
Mother, this is Oriole, my wife soon to be. Without her inspiration, I gravely doubt I would have had the strength to persevere. Lord Kovar's soldiers did their best to locate and imprison me, or kill me.
And we are Oriole's proud parents. How glad we are to welcome Starlon as our future son-in-law.
And we too are proud of Oriole and happy to greet you, brother, sister.
I recall the words of a poet of your clan. He wrote, "The joy that comes when hearts find unity is such, the very earth responds. Flowers appear where once there was a desert, and flowers put forth sweet scents, such as until then were known only in the fields of paradise."
Perhaps one day one of your clan Topaz will write a melody fittingly to complement those words.
Such is the spirit that now draws the clans into a happy harmony. It is only right that we should all celebrate.
Yes.
It is my happy duty to announce that such an occasion has been planned here for this evening. All the clans will be represented. Please, friends, join us then, each one of you. I suggest we leave here now to prepare ourselves for the event.
Okay, good. We're here in time. Now remember, when he comes, we'll all howl like dogs.
Are you sure he'll come to this spot?
I talked with Fidela. She promised to lead him there.
How was he talked into coming?
By mailed threats and then by the power of rumor. Sardak has become convinced. that swelling numbers of Clan Ruby are enraged with him for the way he treated me. He's been informed that a mob is on its way, intending to inflict a horrible vengeance upon him.
But with all this talk of peace, how will he believe there's any truth to these absurd rumors?
My friend, you, our philosopher, must surely realize that mankind lives in a room of mirrors. Whatever a person is inside, that's what he beholds reflected back to him from others, and from the world around him. Sardock set his dogs on me.
Yes!
Of course he thinks me, and therefore the loyal members of my clan, eager to do the same to him.
No!
Sardock had no charity for me.
Yes!
Of course he thinks Clan Ruby, whose members he considers base foreigners, has no charity for him.
Yes!
He's completely out of step with the times.
So much the better that he's coming here. Walking through these woods, he'll exaggerate everything he sees. The trees surrounding him will seem like fierce monsters looming up in dreadful menace.
Owls hooting will sound to him like shrieks of warning for the dead.
And dark shadows, deepened by the contrasting moonlight, will appear to him like open graves.
He'll be so distraught that even a leaf, the breeze brushing a leaf against his face, will cause him nearly to faint in terror.
At that point, we'll all howl from behind the bushes. Let's hurry to our post. Sardock could be here at any moment.
Further, and soon we will reach the place where, so I was assured, we will attain safety.
Can there be safety anywhere in this terrifying wilderness?
Oh,
I don't believe in ghosts, but I'll swear I heard a sound so eerie it couldn't have come from any creature of this world.
oh, Sardock, you would turn the very sighing, your imagination would turn the very sighing of the wind into the woeful moaning of the dam.
I tell you, I heard it. I haven't an imaginative nature.
You live boxed up in your own home. You never go anywhere. You've no idea what it's like to go walking in the woods in the dark.
These are no ordinary woods. I tell you, there's a hideous evil abroad. Just think how carefully we've had to walk to avoid those gaping pits.
Oh, they were shadows, merely sort of. I stepped around them only to humor you.
They were graves, I tell you. This isn't land belonging to Clan Amethyst. It's alien territory. And those weren't all trees we passed.
Sardock, what's the matter?
Something touched my face. How terrible. They're playing with us. We don't hear them, but they're creeping up behind us, matching our every footstep.
Oh, Sardock, do calm yourself.
Don't get ready and I'll save you, Sardock. I'm practiced in handling dogs. Get out of here! There, I frightened them all away.
Thank you for saving me. I would never have come to this terrible, terrible place if there weren't even greater terrors awaiting me at home.
It's peaceful here now, Sardock. You have nothing to fear.
Thank you, my dear. How good it is to have a friend.
Well,
I begin to think it simply isn't safe to be alone.
I'm by your side. You have nothing to fear.
Who was it came to my rescue so opportunely? Those vicious dogs would have devoured me.
Can you see me now? Until this evening, you haven't thought me your friend exactly. But I'll always rescue you from danger if I'm nearby.
My friend! Past. I'm grateful to you, grateful. How wonderful it is to have friends.
Oh, Starlon, now that I have my parents' approval, I can't wait any longer. Let's be married this very evening.
What more auspicious occasion than this? The day we all celebrate the peaceful union of the 5 clans.
We
we meet again, though this time I'm glad to say I'm not after chasing you. I've grown a bit tired of the chase.
This time I hope my head won't seem so useful to you.
You seem to have more uses better for than I do. Thank you.
My wife, bless her, says that my stomach is more useful to me than my head. She means that I put so much more into it. Oh, it's good to be home, sir. My wife, she understands me.
I'm happy with the peace, though I must say I'm already growing also a bit fat.
Father, what are you doing here?
This excellent young man, daughter, has just saved your father from a tragedy.
What? How?
The time has come to speak of unity, of cooperation, of fellow feeling. Sardoc, sir, my fellow feeling is particularly deep where your daughter is concerned. If I marry her, reflect. You won't be losing a daughter, you'll be gaining a champion.
Unity seems to be covered in a shroud of, No, that's the wrong word. Unity has been thrust upon me. No, I mean, I'm grateful for it. But unity and cooperation, though admittedly new concepts for me, appear to be the spirit of the hour. Yes, my boy, I need a champion. And though I'm sure it's no easy choice for you, I'm grateful that you're willing to pay the price of marrying my daughter. Perhaps it's the best way of ensuring that you'll continue to protect me.
Oh, Sardoc, you need a proper keeper, not a mere boy who, for all you know, someday will run off with Crystal. I mean, you can't have completely forgotten what it's like to be married. You need someone by your side night and day, taking care of you.
The concept does, I admit, exude a certain appeal for me.